Once again, thank you everybody for joining us. My name is Carlos Cordova with Sherpa Marketing, working here with the City of Los Angeles and the city's city administrative office. We will be talking about RAMP, the Regional Alliance Marketplace for Procurement, and we'll be discussing opportunities for procurement for the small and diverse business community with the City of LA, as well as other organizations. We will be distributing the chat and the presentation recording later on. So be on the lookout for that. Everybody that has registered will be receiving it. Before we get started, what we'd like to do is a couple of things. One is to share with you a short video from a local entity, a local small business that has been successfully working with the City of Los Angeles and that has been registered in the RAMP procurement platform. So before we go on, let me share this video with you. It's a couple of minutes, and I'll give you a better idea of how RAMP works.
Hi, my name is Kevin Ramsey, and I'm president of Alameda Construction Services. We've been in business since 1997. We are a site concrete contractor. We do curb and gutter, sidewalks, driveways, that type of work. We also do minor structural concrete. We use RAMP to find out about opportunities, and also when we're looking for work, we go to RAMP and search the site and see what opportunities are out there. And every agency in the city has their own contracts, but you can find out all about that when you register with RAMP. And then, because that's where you go to look for the project. So all the city agencies put all of their bid opportunities in RAMP. The advice that I would recommend is keep the faith. You could do this. Find your opportunities. Find something that'll fit for your company. Find something that'll fit for your scope of work. The most important thing is to register in RAMP, because once you register in RAMP, then you find the opportunity. Sometimes the opportunity find you. You know, people are looking for you. So look in RAMP at least 2 or 3 times a week. Find the opportunity that you like. Put your proposal in, learn from your proposal, and do it again. Do it again, do it again, and then one of these times you're gonna get the opportunity to do it. And then once you do it, you do a good job so they can call you back. That's how we do our business, you know. We like to do repeat business with customers that like to do business with us. That's how you stay in business. That's how you get business with RAMP. It's a great opportunity. Don't miss out. Make sure you register, go there and look and send your proposals in.
Hopefully this will give you a good idea of the opportunities that are out there for folks as you interact with the platform. Before I turn on the mic to our first guest, there's one question that I'd like to ask our audience. We have a poll question that we'd like to serve up, and basically is whether you have previously attended any of our City of Los Angeles web sessions. We've been implementing these on a monthly basis. We invite companies registered with City of Los Angeles and other entities, as well as nonprofits and chambers. So we always like to see whether we have new folks joining the sessions, or we have folks that come back and visit with us every month. So we have about 75% of the participants, and about 70% have not been in these sessions before. About a third, 29-30%. Have been. So thank you for that, because it assists us in the session and how we go about putting together the presentation. So 28% have been with us before, and 72% are new to the session. So thank you everybody for participating. So now let me go on and turn it over to our first speaker. Traditionally, we have had Shannon Hoppes, who's a Chief Procurement Officer for the City of Los Angeles, guiding us through the sessions. Today, we're lucky enough to have Andrew Choi. He's a Senior Management Analyst with the Office of the City Administrative Officer, also with the City of Los Angeles. Andrew has been working on the launch of RAMP and helping spread the word for several years. So we're lucky to have Andrew sharing his insights into this opportunity. So Andrew, please go ahead. Anything else about yourself that we should know? And take it away.
No, Carlos, that was a very generous introduction. Hello, my name is Andrew Choi. I'm one of Shannon Hoppus's seniors. I project manage RAMP and making sure that it is what we promise it to be, which is a regional marketplace for procurement. So what is RAMP? Well, it is the innovative concept that was born out of the London Olympic Games. The idea is, how can we make procurement more accessible to all our businesses in our region? How can we make the region's procurement also more effective and reaching to businesses in the area? So the idea was so that we can create a website or a system that'll be able to centralize procurement, public and both private procurement, into a central place. Previously, the City of Los Angeles used to use a system called LA BAVN, the Los Angeles Business Assistant Virtual Network. If you were a previous contractor with the city, you were familiar with that system. But with a new changes to technology, we decided to leverage that build of a new system and work with the other entities in the City of Los Angeles, other partners, to launch what's known as RAMP Today. RAMP Today is a new idea. It's a concept that was born out of the London Games. But overall, in the end, it is really just an economic tool for you. How can you do more business? How can you find contracting opportunities in a small and big way? And what can you benefit from? And what can the region's businesses benefit from the work the City of Los Angeles is doing? Instead of the city just using procurement as a tool for ourselves, ensuring that we fulfill our goals, how can it become a driver in economic change for the region? So with that, in February 2022, we launched RAMP. We fully replaced LA BAVN, and we launched RAMP with the hopes that it will provide opportunities for not only you, but also businesses looking for you in the region. Next slide. Part of our motivating driver was the understanding that the city receives investment from sports and entertainment. It is one of our largest sectors in the industry. We have Hollywood, we have our sports teams, we have a lot of sports franchises, and we have other franchises that are located within our universities and colleges. LA is a diverse city, which attracts a lot of businesses to want to work in this region. And more recently, as you may know, we have the 28 games and the 26 World Cup heading into Los Angeles. So how can we, the city, prepare you to become a vendor in this space? Well, the City of Los Angeles is working very hard to get these partners to pull from our vendor pool in RAMP. So if you are not registered in RAMP today, LA28 will be posting onto RAMP their procurement opportunities you won't be able to hear about. You will miss out. They're going to post their procurement events, procurement activity, and procurement strategy that you may participate in the 28 games. Again, the City of Los Angeles procures in a very specific category, which is regarding public space. A lot of construction, a lot of services in our internal operations. We don't normally hire vendors to do catering services or florists or other services that you may traditionally connect with sports and entertainment. But with the launch of RAMP and the major investments from our regional partners and also these upcoming games, you can now benefit by going to one website and seeing all opportunities from all of our partners. RAMP is expected to generate $10 billion of procurement. That is I think we may have reached it, but we currently believe that $10 billion per year, again, it's not a total of over 10 years, it's per year. The City of Los Angeles alone procures $4.5 billion per year. So again, there is a lot of opportunity for everyone here, everyone who's in the chat. I don't know what industries you belong to, but I guarantee that there is some type of prime contractor or subcontractor opportunity for you in any of our private and also public opportunities. Next slide, please. These are some of the partners I mentioned before that help launch RAMP, and these are many of the partners that are posting onto RAMP directly. So our system is based for our regional partners in two ways. they can directly advertise to you, meaning if you received emails from the city before saying, by the way, we're looking for a contractor to lay concrete. That's one way. Another way is that the vendors are pulling from the database. Businesses here will create a business profile, and Jack will go into it in just in the presentation. Jack Lacho, one of our other presenters, will go into what it means to have a business profile. But our regional partners have two ways of reaching out to you: directly by posting an opportunity publicly, or pulling from the database contact information, names, and certifications that our contractors have, because that's what they're able to do. The city of Los Angeles is subject to what's known as Proposition 209. We are race and gender neutral. We cannot use demographic information to outreach or to reach a contractor, but our private sector can. So if they're looking to increase their minority business portfolio, or if they're looking to increase their engagement with women-owned businesses, private sector entities can, the government can't, but we are helping businesses in the region, large corporations like these, to leverage the certifications that we provide to increase their supplier diversity engagements. Of course, the city of LA is also working to do extensive outreach and training. So again, all of these information about training, education, development, but also procurement opportunities are going to be in RAMP. So your first thing after this training today is to be registered so that you can be contacted when an opportunity exists. And finally, what's really important in today's training is when you register a complete profile. A lot of businesses we have found is completing partial profiles. Jack will go into details of what it means to have a complete profile, but please do go through the entire process. If you're able to register on Facebook or Instagram, or if you can use Twitter or any other social media website, you are able to register into RAM. We just need some key details. Next slide. So why are one thing that we did focus, and why this is important, is that many of you are small businesses. It is said that in the county of Los Angeles, over 90% of the businesses in LA County are considered small by the definition that we have set. You have less than 20 employees, and you have, I think the revenue cap is 5 million. That is the majority of businesses. There are a lot of you who have large businesses as well, and medium-sized businesses. This system is really geared towards those businesses looking for opportunities, so they will be in the smaller category. We want you to feel value and feel like the city is working for you. And that is our focus. And so when we created our system, we really created a big emphasis on your certifications. What's important is once you are certified, we can reach out on a different level with you. We can provide additional support. We can provide additional information. We can actually do separate engagement just based on your certification. So again, it is a great hub. It is a one-stop shop. It is truly a marketplace. Think about going shopping. The system is built around a shopping experience. And that's what we wanted to present with you, with options, so that you find the best opportunity that fits for you and the best opportunities that work for you and that you can continue to grow with. One thing that we're really focused on with our small business community is your growth and your long-term prosperity. We're not asking all small businesses to become medium and large. Some small businesses are going to be great at being small businesses, and it generates great economic opportunities for you, ability to create jobs in the region, and also for you to be able to sustain a long time within the city of Los Angeles. The LA is expensive. It is expensive to operate. It is expensive to live. So what we want to do is make sure that you're getting the tools necessary so you can get the best chance of procurement. Finally, you'll find that buyers will, the large partners are going to be reaching out to you not only on demographic information, but on size capacity as well. Subcontracting opportunity is a huge component of procurement. A lot of people think I'm ready to, I'm not, a lot of businesses will be in the concept of, I'm not ready to be that direct contractor. I'm not ready to be that one business that takes over all of it. I'm not ready to project manage a large contract. But if you feel like you're comfortable with a small piece of it, the system is built towards the subcontractors as well. It's built towards you being able to take a small bite of the larger apple, right? So again, thank you everyone for joining. I see we have over 100 participants today. That is great to see. Again, on behalf of the Chief Procurement Officer, thank you for joining us. And I hand it back to you, Carlos.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you so much. Thanks for that introduction. Our next speaker is Jack Ochoa. He is a principal at Infinity GPS. Jack's been in the business of assisting the small business community with certification, with basically how to do business with entities for quite some time. Jack, before you go on live, there's one question that we would like to launch for the folks. Let me just take back the screen for one moment. We actually, with the first question we asked was whether you have been attending our webinars previously. The other question that we'd like to ask of you is also, which helps Jack in his presentation, is to get a read into whether our audience is actually registered on RAMP, or whether we need to spend a little bit more time in terms of guiding and introducing the platform for everybody. So if you could all take a minute and let us know whether you have registered your company in RAMP or not. It will give us a good view into the distribution of our presence here. So we see that just about half of the participants are not currently registered. Just over a third, 37%, are registered. So thank everybody for participating and giving us your insights. Jack, my apologies. I'll turn it back to you. Please go ahead with your presentation.
All right, so can I get, yes, you can see my screen? All right, cool. All right, with that said, so let me kind of help you out here with one thing. Remember, the actual webinar is being recorded and you will receive it. So don't feel like you absolutely have to follow me along as I show you the step-by-step how to register, okay? So with that said, I'm gonna kind of show you the basic steps. How do you do this for those of you that are not registered? And this also helps for those of you that are registered on a couple of tweaks you may want to consider for your own profile. As Andrew said, we want complete profiles. So again, upper corner, when you go on to rampla.org, you'll see a button that looks a lot like this, where it says start here. You want to hit login register. You're going to click on that button and it's going to send you to a screen that looks a lot like this. So to pass, if you're registered and you remember your registration system, you can log in with your email address, you put in your password, and you'll log in to the old or the former system called LA Bobbin, but now called RAMP. So then that's that. For everybody else, the other 50% that does not have a profile yet, you go to a button at the bottom that says sign up. So you're going to click on that button there. It's going to send you to a screen that looks a lot like this. And you put in your email address, your password. It's about 12 characters long, your first name, your last name. I would recommend for phone number that you use a cell number. So there's some feature coming on that. So I would recommend putting your cell number right there. Of course, you're going to click on, I'm not a robot. Then click on that button. It's going to change screens quickly and it's going to go like, okay, cool. You're now to verify that you are in fact not a robot. Because yeah, it's going to just double check to make sure you're not a robot. So you're going to go to your email that you put in that first one, and you're going to go look email, and the email is going to look a lot like this. And there's going to be a little bit of confusion because you're going to wait a minute. You're like, wait a minute. I logged into RAMP, but it says Angelino. It's the same thing. So Angelino is the overarching system for other systems within the city of Los Angeles. RAMP is one of the components within that. So Angelino, big green button to verify that yes, you're not a robot. So then what'll happen is it'll change screens. It'll go through this like pulling and pushing because it wants to make sure that you're not a robot. So once it does that, it's going to send you to a screen that looks a lot like this. So again, name of business or the company name. Quick note, if you are a sole proprietor, you are the business. Your DBA goes somewhere else. If you are a sole proprietor, you put the company name as you, yourself. So Jack Ochoa, Joe's Pizza. So the DBA goes somewhere else. You're a corporation, LLC, S Corp. You put the company name there. You're going to click on whether you're a sole proprietor or not. Typically, it's going to be no. Location within the US. And then, of course, your EIN. I would recommend on your EIN, do not put a dash. Just leave the dash off. Just do the numbers and hit search. because it wants to search the system to make sure you're not already in here. So then it'll go here to this screen where you're like, okay, cool. I got my name on here. I see my email address, and then it'll ask you for your title. Typically, owner, CEO, president, whatever your title happens to be, you put it there. It'll go to the next screen. So this is where I mentioned before, where you're putting in the details, right? This is the devil of the details of like, okay, let me figure out where I need to put what. So when you're looking at this, you're going, okay, cool. So you see your name. This is where you put your DBA. If you happen to have a DBA, you put it there. And you'll notice right below where it says logo, which by the way, you can do if you have like a real small logo, you can put a logo in here. Summary. And I mean summary, like don't write the next dissertation, right? Don't do that. Something short and concise. What does your business do? So be as precise, as concise as possible. You want to not put more than 250 characters. So 250 characters, about 50, 60 words-ish. So you want to make sure that when somebody sees your profile, they're like, oh, cool. They do fencing, they do balloons, they do catering, they do paving, they do painting. So you want to be like real concise on the summary one right here, right? So of course you'll see you can put your website, encourage you to put your website. On the other side, you'll notice you have an address. Quick note on your address. You want to use a physical address. The US Post Office down the street is not a physical address. That is a government address. So you cannot put a government address as your own. It has to be the physical address of your business. So you want to put that right there. So then the next section, as you go further down on the screen, you'll notice as you go down to the next screen, you go further down on the same page, it'll be a phone number. Quick note on the phone number requires dashes. Don't ask why, just put the dashes, okay? So then the next section will be your hours of operation, Monday through Friday, Monday through Sunday. You can put in what your hours of operation. You do have the option to put your hours, not required, but you can. You'll notice directly across is you can put in your California entity number if you're an LLC S Corp. You also can put in your BRTC number, which is your license number for the city. You can actually put it right there. That's kind of cool. So you have all your information in one spot. If I'm a prime, I don't have to go look because all the information is here. So this is what Andrew's talking about, complete information. Business type. So if you're a sole proprietor, a partnership, a JV, joint venture, corporation, S corporation, you have the option to put it all here. So then once you put that on there, you'll notice that toward the bottom here, if you go to the right, when you scroll down just another hair, you'll notice two more boxes. And I want to pause on these two boxes because they're very important for you to know. One of them, you're going to put, hey, are you a for-profit or nonprofit? So most of us are going to be for-profit, for-profit. The other one is register as. Make sure that when you do the drop down that you pick prime/sub, because Andrew already brought it up. There is a ton of opportunities to be a sub. There are more opportunities to be a sub than there is to be a prime. So a prime, you're responsible for the whole ship versus a cabin door, right? So look at it a little bit differently of, you know what? I'm okay with being a sub, right? It's okay with being a prime, being a part of the team versus trying to be the whole, I'm going to do it all. Is remember, there's only one way to eat an elephant. One small bite at a time, right? Right. So you want to kind of like just start slow, gain some experience, and then build your business that way. So once you finish this section, you're going to go ahead and click on next. It's going to throw you to the next section here. So NAICS code, your North American Industry Code number. So now you're like, okay, I don't know it. Well, it's going to be one of two places. Either A, you can go to your taxes, and if you look at the cover under box B, it'll have your NAICS number. So you're like, okay, cool, I didn't know I have it, but there it is, right? Now, option two is you can go on here on the US Census website and uscensus.gov/NICS code, and you can look up your number. Now, if we have time at the very end, I'll actually show you a couple of them. We'll actually look a couple up. So here's what I would tell you. Look up about 5, 10 for yourself. Find your primary, but then that's because that's the one we want to put here. You want to put in your primary ones. What does your business do? So now when you go through this part of it here, it's a little clunky. Okay, I'm just going to be straight with you. It's a little clunky. So what you're going to do is you're going to put in the first 2 digits of your NICS number. You're going to put in the 3rd digit. You put in the 4th, and you're going to click on each one of those blue numbers. So if your number starts with 11, 2, 3, 4, 5, then it'll be like 11, then 112, then 113, then 114, then 114. It's like literally, it's a little clunky, but this is what you have to do in order to get your NIC. And that's how you get notifications about opportunities. That is how other vendors find you. They find you based on these numbers. So you want to make sure you do this. Other thing you can do, because you can actually update this later, is once you put in your 1 or 2 numbers, you can actually go in the system and go look at your competitors. What are they doing? Maybe they have numbers that you don't have, and you want to add it to your profile. There's nothing wrong with that, because again, it's public information. There's nothing wrong with going and seeing what everybody else is doing so that you don't miss out. That's okay. So once you get that button, you're going to go to the bottom, and then you're going to hit next. So it's going to send you this screen that looks a lot like this. So now this is the demographics. Remember, the city wants to see who's out there, right? So you'll notice here, it'll allow you the opportunity to put in your ownership information, right? African-American, Black, Caucasian, white, Middle Eastern. So it allows you to put in different categories. So you'll notice toward the bottom, there's a box that says other identifiers. Please don't forget to click that box. So yes, you want to put race, but you want to click that one at the bottom, especially for the ladies in the room. You want to click that box on the bottom because it'll also identify gender. So you want to then identify, hey, yeah, I'm a guy, hey, I'm a girl, I'm a lady. So that's where it put that on there. So male, female is going to be on there. So make sure you identify that one. Very critical to hit that box. I can't emphasize it enough. You'll notice on the other side, it'll say number of employees. So there's different categories, typically under 20. So annual revenue, under $1 million's on there. If that's where you happen to be, there's also $1 million, 5 million, 5 million plus. So those categories are on there. So I want to take a moment to pause right here where it says show your experience. Let me be clear about this. This box for you to brag. This is your bragging box. This is where you get to say, hey, I've done this, I've done that, I used to work with Disney, and here are my projects. I used to be the construction manager for Parsons or for whoever. This is where you get to brag about your business. This is where you can say, hey, I got this. I don't need a big company anymore. I want to do this on my own. So this is where you get to brag about your business. Right here. This is your spot. This is your spot to shine. So for those of you that have a resume for your business, also known as a capability statement, this is where you put the information from there to here. So that's an opportunity for you to kind of look at it like, hey, how do they know what I do? This is where it's at. This is where you brag about your business. This is your moment to shine. You'll notice right below it, it'll say contract experience. So if you have any contract experience where like, okay, I manage this contract or that contract, you get to put that too. And I'm going to give you an example because I think this might help drive it home. There was a young lady I was working with who happened to be the designer for the Lucas Museum. After she finished that project, she decided, I'm going to go do my own thing. But she never talked about it. She really was very quiet about it. Like, I was working for some other company, but then I reminded her, who did the work? But she goes, well, I did. She put it on her profile, and all of a sudden, LAX, this little tiny airport, said, hey, we need somebody that does this work. They ended up contracting her as a sub for one of the primes. They're like, hey, we want that lady over there. We need her on your team because we're going to be doing some updates to the airport. So what I was saying to you is, yes, those opportunities are out there, but you have to have your profile updated. That's going to be your key for you, especially for those of you that have a profile already. This is your moment to come back in here and update it. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. So getting on to the next screen, certification. So you'll heard Andrew mention it briefly about certification. So most of you are probably going, but I'm not certified yet. So this particular section is not a required field. If you are not certified yet as a small business, as a minority business, woman business, whatever your category happens to be, you can scroll to the bottom and just hit next. However, for the rest of you that happen to have any of the certifications listed over here on the left, where it's either through the state of California, which by the way is the easiest certification to get, state of California, by far easiest certification to get, the California Public Utility Commission to get your minority or woman certification. Again, one of the easiest certifications to get. Metro, if you happen to be certified by Metro, either as a disadvantaged business, as a local business, or as a minority-owned business, you can actually do that at Metro. Now, to be fair, not the easiest one to do, but hey, you want to do it and you have it, congratulations, and yes, you can put it on here. Federal government, there's only one spot where the federal government's on here. It doesn't have a lot of spots, but I'll kind of indicate which one that is. So now you're going, okay, Jack, I have the certification. I want to put on the state one. The state one actually falls into 3 different categories. So it falls into emerging business, it falls into small business Los Angeles, and small business proprietary. So think about it. You go get your state of California certification as a small business, you can come back to the city and you get 3 certifications for doing one. Not bad. Yes, minorities on here, yes, women's on here, and yes, disadvantaged business on here, and veterans on here as well as LGBT. So it actually has, if you already done that certification somewhere else, yes, you can do it here. So I want to point out something Andrew said specifically. The city of Los Angeles is race neutral and gender neutral. So with that said, most businesses in LA or Southern California are small businesses. Their annual revenue is less than $5 million a year. That is considered a small business in the eyes of the city, the county, and the state. That's pretty much everybody. So that's where I would recommend you take some time. Again, not a required field, but if you have to, you can do it, okay? Then you get to the last page. Now you get your chance to look at it one more time. Let me make sure everything's right. Let me make sure our email address is right. Make sure my phone number is right. Make sure everything's correct. If it is, you scroll all the way to the bottom and you hit submit. Once you hit submit, it's going to send you a screen that looks like this. And now you're like, cool, now what? Where's my contract? Nope, that's not how it works. This is only registration. Now you get invited to the party, and that's where the opportunities are going to start coming in and popping in. So with that said, I'm going to stop sharing for a minute. Carlos, was there any questions on the chat?
Yes, Jack. One thing that you could clarify
Sure.
regarding the NAICS codes, we have posted on the chat the census website where folks can go in and locate the NAICS code for their business or the closest one for their business. But could you just reinforce the advantage of posting on their RAMP profile their NAICS code so that the appropriate and best match opportunities are sent over to them?
Right. So you're limited to 10 NAICS codes you can do. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing for a minute, and I'm going to reshare because I'm actually going to show you a live profile. So you can actually see what the profile looks like. And it's going to also give us a chance to look at the web. So we're going to go look at RAMP for a minute. So let me go on RAMP. I think we should, I got to close this out. Let's stop sharing for a second. I'm going to go on RAMP.
While Jack goes on RAMP, several weeks ago, we had a very well-attended session regarding certification. what is obtaining certification as a small business, woman-owned, disabled veteran, all kinds of different certifications. We have a recording of that session. So we will not only distribute the link to the session we're doing right now, but we will also include a link to that recording that is specifically tied to certification. And that may be an added area of assistance for everybody out there.
So this is a live actually profile, so you can kind of get an idea where we're at, okay? So we look at it is when you're on your profile. So now let's assume from when you're inside your profile, you're done. You can go right here to my business. You click on my business. It'll go to your profile. And notice here, you can actually get creative. I specifically added a video. Yes, I added a YouTube link. So yeah, you got to get creative, right? You have the access to it, so you might as well get creative. So then you'll notice here, there's all these buttons on the side. This is where the NICS codes are all reside. So here's where you get a chance to make sure you have your NICS codes related to your trade. I recommend highly that you look at what other companies that that are in your profile that have other NICS codes that you may not be listing out. And I'm going to give an example. I'll pick on myself. Originally, when I had done this, I had only picked 3. So when you look at it, you look at it like, hey, let me add more to expand my offering, because yeah, you might say, I do that too. So you also don't want to do the spaghetti approach. You don't want to do that. You want to be more concise. So that way, as an outside company that looking at you, they're now looking at like, okay, this person's profile is pretty tight and they have all the information I need. So in here, you have the ability to update your company details. You have the ability to update your certifications. If you don't have them today, you can go in here and actually update your certifications. You also have the ability to bookmark. So if you have like, hey, if there are any opportunities that you were looking at, you can actually go on here and actually bookmark opportunities. So you're like, you can actually look at not only future opportunities, or you may want to look at this more from a research perspective. Like you did some research on a couple of opportunities. You're like, well, let me go see what happened with that. You also can, if you have other people you want to have manage it. So like if you want to manage, okay, I want to be able to manage it, but I also need Julie and John and Sarah. I want them to also have access to this. You can do it that way too.
Jack,
So this is
before we continue, I just want to go back to the NICS codes and why they're so important for us as a city, or for these profiles. And when you're selecting your NICS codes, the best way to explain it is that it is truly the only mechanism that we currently have to identify you as a vendor of a service area or a provider of a specific type of service and or profession. NICS codes are also used by the IRS when you put in your taxes. That 6-digit code that you guys you put in identifies what industry you're in. But the NICS code is specifically used to understand what industries you're interested in, not what industry you're in specifically. Again, NICS codes represent industries. So if you provide marketing service for construction opportunities, right, you want to have your NICS codes as someone who is in marketing, but also identify NICS codes that are in construction. That's key. You want to do 2 things with your NICS codes. It's not about specifying what service categories not only what service categories you belong to, but what industries you're interested in. We also limit it to 10 because that's how city departments create opportunities as well. We determine who to outreach to based on your NICS codes that you've selected, your industry codes. So when we say we're looking for a company in general development of a building, we'll use codes that are in general contractors, architects. We'll put in plumbing and engineering. So we'll use a plethora of codes, and you want to make sure you're caught in that, right? So again, NICS codes are 2 things. It is codes to represent industries that you're in, and also the industries you're interested in. There are 32, if I'm not mistaken, major categories, and then there are 6-digit codes over that. So there is an opportunity. There is over 1,100 codes or 11,000 codes. I think it's 11,000 codes that you can select from. So make sure you're concise in the codes that you're going to want to find opportunities with. Lastly, the codes are used by our private partners to also identify potential suppliers. So what's important with your codes, though, is that if you are interested in it, that's going to mean you're going to receive we're going to receive notifications that you may not qualify in per se. So that's why it's important that your profiles are accurate as well, because the NIC codes are your primary identification, a method of identification. Then your summary of your services provided is a secondary method. You may be an artist, right, that does murals on building walls, and you NICS code as in construction. You're going to be notified every time there is an opportunity in construction, but then your profile will then further delineate that you are interested in artwork in construction, right? So please do use both categories, the NICS code and your vendor summary, as a way to further identify and clarify what industry you're in. So that's really important. And also all the things that Jack is showing. Jack, if you go to support on the top right, everything that Jack is showing you right now, top right.
Support?
Yes, support. Next to business profiles.
Down here, right? Okay, right here, I see it,
Everything you have questions to or you may need assistance in, we have FAQs and also user manuals, all the features and functions of our
found my birth
website.
certificate.
I'm sorry?
Nothing. So I muted him.
Okay. All the sections that you are that you need to all the sections that you need to we have manuals. So if you download the user manuals, they give you step-by-step instructions on how to do things what Jack showed you during this demonstration. It takes you through the certification components. It takes you through filling out your business profiles, and that also helps you picking your NICS code. So again, we have FAQs for just single question answers. But if you on the bottom half, you see user manual downloads, you can download the manuals that we put together. Additionally, we do have a website if you need additional support. It's support@rampla.org. This website is made so that you are able to ask your questions. We actually have staff. We have live staff in that mailbox every single day. So please do use that email address to ask your questions regarding your RAM profile, registration, your NICS codes, and they'll be able to further guide you in terms of where you'll be able to find that information. Or if you're asking questions such as certification, we'll direct you towards the department that oversees certification, which is the Bureau of Contract Administration. So again, I want to take some time to show that we've taken time to build a support page. Please use it first. Reaching out to us first without using the support page, you'll notice that we'll redirect you back to the support page. But the website, the email address is available for you if you're finding yourself stuck, if you're having troubleshooting issues, if you're getting an error message or a warning message. That is what the email address is for. So as you build your profile, please download the user manual and go in that direction step by step. So I'll toss it back to Carlos for any additional questions.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Desiree.
Thank you. I really appreciate you guys' time. Thank you so much. Well, I am a contractor, C15 contractor, flooring contractor, and this is my first time getting into this industry that is contracting. Now, what I want to know, because I am registering as a sub and a prime, how would I be able to solicitate bigger general contracting job if I do not have a general contracting B license? Now, can I hire my own personal general contractor to partner up with me so I can bid on bigger solicitation opportunities? Or, okay, I can't do that.
That is a great strategy, Desiree. That is honestly a great strategy. And you can find general contractors in our system that's won previous contracts with the city. So you may be able to find a partner who found success through the city contracting process. Not only does the city contract in this space, but LAUSD, the airport, LADWP, the port of Long Beach, the transit of Long Beach, right? You have a lot of public sector opportunities. So that is a strategy I do recommend if you are looking to expand. You can partner with a business, and so that you can expand the categories you can bid in. But what you will have to do is you and your general contractor will have to both be registered in RAMP so that we can verify any certification requirements.
Got it. So he would also have to do the same steps I am doing so we can work together to do so.
Yes, and if you're going to be bidding together, you'll have to, of course, pick which business will be considered the prime, or you can create a joint venture and then submit it as a single entity. The strategy and how you procure, offer yourself as a vendor will determine what type of documentation and requirements will be necessary. But I assume that if you pick a general contractor, the general contractor could be the prime, and you and this business can have your own separate agreement between the two of you on how work and negotiation and how
It was a
revenue generator will be split. Exactly. So it will be up to you guys on how to structure your business. But in terms of bidding, I recommend both, because now you have two businesses in the system. You have a total of 20 different X codes you could pick from, and you'll be notified even from a broader pool.
one more last question before I let you go, and I appreciate that. Now, if he does go ahead and register into the ramp and everything, can he still with me work, even though let's just say I am Decades Flooring and he's LA Contracting. Now, even if it's two different companies, how does that join together where we can work together? I have to pay him out of, Decades Flooring and say he's my employee.
Right. Okay. So again, that goes to how you want to structure your business. I can't advise on how you and a potential partner is going to structure your business together. He can be a sub. You can be a sub. It really is up to you on how to decide that. I can't advise specifically because the circumstances or the way you approach may change based on how you're structured. Right. So I do find that partnership runs when there's a prime and a subcontractor and there's a contract between the two of them. That I've seen that exist. So that is not something that's unfamiliar. Or you can collectively join to create a company together, and then have both your companies be subcontractors to that main company. That's another opportunity. Again, I can't give you a specific advice because
But for right now, it's good for him to start getting the ball rolling by enrolling into the ramp. Okay,
yes.
right. Got
it. Also, one
Mm-hmm.
thing for everyone here, if you look at historically completed procurements, you can see also who won the opportunity. So you can see the prime contractors have historically won our database. Again, it's not just a database of current active procurements, but it's a history of all city procurements and all procurements done by in our system. You can see the awardees and you will find out who won the contract. So you have an opportunity to reach out to that business and say you are a potential subcontractor to them as well. So don't limit yourself to just trying to find for new ones. Use the database as a historical document so that you can do research for future opportunities.
I appreciate that feedback. Thank you so much for your time.
We have a question, raised hand from Herman Jones. Herman, you want to unmute yourself and share your question, please?
Absolutely. Thank you guys for the opportunity and all the great information. I just want to know a couple of questions logistically. The first one is, how long does it take to, get acceptance if you are to be accepted? How long does that process take? Or is it different with every job?
So I want to separate the two things. Registering on RAMP doesn't take too long. Registration is if you're registering to any social media network. About the time, it's going to take about 5 to 10 minutes. Depends on the complexity that you want to make of the complexity of your profile. Certifications take longer because they go through an administrative review process. There are a couple different types of certifications. If you go onto our website and go under support, there is a descriptive document about certifications. You could read into that. So certifications can take anywhere between 1 to 2 months, all the way to 6 months and 9 months. Depends on the type of certification and the availability of staff to review your documentation.
I'm sorry, I actually meant once you bid on a job. How long?
Okay. Thank you for that. It depends on the scope of the opportunity. Some bids take 3-6 months for the evaluation process of the bids to come in. Some take 2-3 years. It depends on the scope of work. I will say this: plan for it to take longer than you expect. If you think it's 3 months, add another 3 months to that. If you're thinking it's 6 months, add another 6 months to that. The reason why I say that is because you as a business, you're bidding, but the city, we're receiving bids from everybody, and we need to give due diligence to every opportunity, every response that we get. So the evaluation process for you creating the bid may be X number of time, but we are receiving sometimes little as 3 bids up to 20-30 bids, and the amount of time we do evaluating each bid has to be about the same. The amount of due diligence is about the same. So it's hard to answer that question, but I can tell you that it correlates really with the dollar amount. Smaller dollar amounts take a little bit relatively sooner to evaluate versus a large dollar amount bid. Our system houses everything from $25,000 and above up to our multi-$100 million projects, right? The 6th Street Bridge development was on our system, all the way to a one-time user updating of our website, right? So again, the scope is large. Depending on the scope, it's going to be the time needed to do the evaluation part. So it's hard to answer your question, unfortunately. But what I can recommend is if you look at the system that, as Jack is showing you, you can look at previous opportunities and see how long it took previous opportunities. That's a good way of gauging it. Some opportunities, if you see in our database, the awardee was selected 2 years after the close of the opportunity itself. So again, use a historical context in your industry, your sector, and your business type, and that should give you a better sense of how long a bid review takes.
And then the final question, thank you for that, is in terms of, if I have a painting company, so it's smaller jobs, probably nothing over 50,000 or 100,000, but as it pertains to are these net 30 accounts, net 90? And is there flexibility in terms such as deposits up front to start the job?
So those agreements are done at the department level when you negotiate your individual contracts. I can't speak to exactly if net 30 or net 90 is available on these contracts. If you're related to construction with prevailing wage, I believe there is a law that mandates a 30-day pay. In terms of advance funding, those are rare in the city, is from my experience. The advance payment is extremely rare. City rarely does any deposits because historically the city does on payment on services rendered. If you're trying to work with the city, please do know invoicing itself is its own process. So again, there are 2 things that you need to consider becoming a vendor for the city of Los Angeles. First thing is that you are able to handle the work. Don't underbid for the sake of underbidding of getting the contract. Make sure you're bidding at the price point that you can afford. Secondly, be prepared that invoicing takes time because there are other requirements as part of the billing and invoicing process that you and the city must accomplish before payment is issued. So there may be delays of 30, 60, 90 days of payment because the nature of the complexity of the structure may be there. You'll find that in construction, you'll find that there's a lot of inspections that take place as part of the invoicing process, which naturally adds more time, right? So again, it depends on the contract, it depends on the department, it depends on the authority each department has, but advance payments are extremely rare. I haven't seen those frequently in the city. I have seen them, but I have rarely, but they're not frequent. And also in terms of payment schedule, again, that is between you and your department. The department that's awarding the contract will have better understanding of what payment schedules they have for service delivered. Generally, it is, I've seen it be in construction net 30. It has to be, is I think standard. Other departments I know that have some like net 20, some have net 60, depending on the service. So I wish I had more accurate information. I would be able to advise further if I knew specifically which industry, but I could just some general information for you there.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thanks, Andrew. Jason Kell, you have a question still?
Yes, thank you for taking the time. My question concerns minority business enterprise certifications, as well as the women business enterprise, the WBE. One of the requirements that I'm seeing is that we have to submit proof of ethnicity and or gender for all qualifying owners. Gender seems pretty straightforward with, birth certificates or, even driver's licenses. Is there a specific type of form that's typically used for ethnicity? Because we're struggling to find something that would be official documentation showing that kind of information that would satisfy the certification requirement.
That's a great question. If you go on the Bureau of Contract Administration's website, bca.lacity.org, or if you go onto our support page, there is an entire section on certifications. Jack, I'll hand it off to you in just a second, but I do want to say that the type of documentations that's required as part of these specific certifications are already listed there. So you'll be able to find what type of documentations we're looking for as a city. Also, we do have reciprocity, or we do recognize certifications from specific other organizations. So if you already have an MBE or WBE certification with a different entity, and if it's an entity the city of LA recognizes, we can take that as well. So I don't want to go into specific details of what type of documentation, but if you go into the certification link Jack is showing you, it tells you the type of documentations that we accept and that and the process in which to receive your certification.
Okay. We'll check that out then. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you for the question. We're right at the top of the hour. So again, just a quick reminder.
Question. Good afternoon. Quick question.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Jonathan. Thank you for the chance. I really like this. I'm just filling right now the form online as we speak. I had a question. Is any minimum requirement as a business to apply
for an opportunity, for a contract opportunity?
That's correct.
So any minimum requirements will be set by the specific scoping of each document. So if you, Jack, if you could go to an opportunity, there is attachments as part of an opportunity. If you search for opportunity, let's go to anything open. So status, scroll down, status open. Let's go to the, scroll down, let's pick one that's an RFP.
You are right now on this, when you say status, it's open. Okay, I see that right now.
Okay, so if you just click on, can you click on the request for qualification for providing emergency on-call, geotechnical,
Which
number
one?
9. Number 9.
Okay,
Number
got
9,
it.
yes, click on that. If you scroll down onto an opportunity and you're registered and you're logged in, there are attachment documents, and so you'll in these attachment documents you will see the attachment of the full solicitation, and it will tell you what qualifies you. If it's a specific type of industry certification licensing you have to have from the state, or if you need certain level of capacity, right? The scope will tell you. Sometimes some requirements will be you need to be a registered business for 3 years, or you need to have an operating staff of this number of people. All of that information will be in that space. So it depends on the specific opportunity and the requirements of that opportunity.
Should we just apply for a request for a qualification first before do any other type of search? I'm on the construction. I'm an electrician, by the way.
Okay, so I think Jonathan, what might be best for you specifically is to review all the ones where electrical is part of this. Identify the NICS codes for electrical, and if you type in the NICS codes under opportunities, it should show you which electrical opportunities currently exist, and then you can use that information to assess for what opportunities are, first of all, available or was historically available, and it should tell you what were the minimum requirements to bid on this opportunity. I know if you need further assistance, you're free to email support@rampla.org, and then they can give you more information on the bidding process. But I think we're at the top of the hour, Carlos.
Yes, we are.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan. Thanks for the question. Yeah, so that's a great example. Definitely review past opportunities. Some of them obviously are open. Those are the ones that are open for current procurement opportunities. Closed opportunities can still give you some background historical information on what the city has purchased in your entity. So we are at the top of the hour. We will send a recording of this session for everybody, and we will also include a link to the recording for the program we did several weeks ago regarding certification, because that'll have some good additional insights for you all. So thank you so much for participating. These are monthly webinars that we do with the City of Los Angeles. You will also receive a link to the next upcoming session. So thank you so much, everybody, and have a great rest of your day.